Okay, good. All right, it's Belisi and Lenny. We're giving you some more examples of parsing athematic verbs according to the principles that we've been looking at. What differentiates them from regular verbs, and the rest of the things are the same. Okay, so we need to learn how to apply that system. So here are some more. These examples we got are from the third of the three athematic verbs. And the examples we were looking at before, we had didome, the verb to give, and titheme, the verb to put or place. What we're talking about here is the verb histeme, okay, which actually comes from systeme. So you want to write that down? It's the initial S, okay, was si, ste, me, where you have reduplication with an I. But in ancient Greek, when a word began with an initial S followed by a vowel, the S turned into an H. So that's why you have histeme. There are examples, however, of words that begin with an S and a vowel, and it's been restored for various reasons. Okay, we can account for them. So, another example is the word for pig, which should be sus, but it's hus. Okay. And the Indo-European word for pig, when people do hog calling in the Midwest, right? There's a hog calling concept. You know how you call pigs?
Oh, yeah. No.
Sui, sui, sui.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's the Indo-European word for pig with the S. Okay, but anyhow, so...
Is it just a U?
Yep, and it's just hus with the circumflex over the U.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So anyway, histeme is there's the form with a reduplication with an I, okay? The H is what's left of the S, okay? And it means something weird, okay? It's the same as the root of the English word stand, but in Greek it's a transitive verb. It means to make something stand. So in other words, if this is a surface, this is a surface, okay? The verb histeme means to take something, put something on it, and make it stand up, okay? That's histeme, okay? We think of standing as just standing there, okay? But that's an intransitive use of the verb, okay? So this verb has a funny meaning from our point of view, but not from a Greek point of view. All right, so let's look at our first example, which is histe. Notice there's a long mark over the iota, okay? What's going on there? Well, again, to apply our rule, we got reduplication with an I, so we know it's an imperfective aspect stem, either a present or an imperfect, okay? The reason that you have a long mark over it is because you're augmenting the iota, okay? So that already tells us it's an imperfect form. It's the form, so we've got the he with a long mark and the reduplication with an I. We have stay, that's the root, okay? And no ending. So where are we? We're in the third person singular of the imperfect active indicative, okay? If we move on to the next one, we have histas then. Notice it's not histas there, but it's histas there. There's no augment, okay? So we've got our reduplication with an I. Here the stem has become sta instead of stay. We don't have to worry about that. And the ending is the, okay? That's the same ending that we know, second person plural, middle or passive, right? That's why there's a 2 after this. So this is second person plural, middle or passive, present indicative, right? We know it's not imperfect because there's no augment, all right? What about the one right beneath it, which is the same except for one thing? There's a circumflex over the root, which happens to be stay here, okay? What does that tell us? Tell us as is subjunctive, right? It's because you have this contraction going on having to do with the thematic vowel and the lengthened form of the thematic vowel there. So this is the second person, middle or passive, present, subjunctive, okay? The next form is histanai, again, reduplication with an I. The stem is sta, the nai, that's the active infinitive ending, okay? So it's present, active, infinitive. All right. For the next form, 5, we have to add one additional small feature to our list of differences between the athematic verbs and the regular verbs, okay? And here's the difference. For 3 of the 4 athematic verbs, the aorist in the singular has an additional suffix, not an S-A, what we used to, but a kappa, okay? Let's look at this form, and we'll talk about it, okay, for a second. What we've got is an augment. We've got a stem the, okay, that's the stem of the verb titheme, to put or to place. Notice there's no reduplication, okay, so it has to be aorist. In addition, there's a kappa, which marks it as an aorist if you wish, okay, but we can almost ignore it, okay, because we already have the fact that it's an aorist from the form of the stem, okay. And then we have the third person singular ending, and a new movable. So this is third person singular, present, aorist. I mean, this third person singular, aorist, active, indicative, okay. I think we can understand the kappa if we think about this. What would the perfect of this verb look like in the third person singular? It would be te, they, can, okay? And that's probably where the kappa comes from, by opposition to the present, okay? To the aorist, right? Te, they, can, as opposed to ethe, can. But not all of these athematic verbs have it. The verb to stand, histeme, does not have that kappa, but titheme and didome do in the singular of the aorist. So you just have to expect it and not let it think not have it make you think that the verb is perfect because of it. The crucial thing being the reduplication to identify the aspect stem. Okay? All right, the next form is dosthai. What have we got there? An unreduplicated aspect stem, da, okay, from the verb to give. So it's an aorist form. And then we have sthai. We recognize that. That's the middle infinitive ending. So this is present. I mean, aorist, middle, or passive. No, aorist, middle.
Aorist, middle, yeah.
Because the middle and the passive are different in the aorist. Aorist, middle, infinitive. Okay? Dosthai. The next form is stay, men. Okay, we've got an augment a stem stay, and a personal ending men. Okay? Notice we've got say, not reduplicated, so it has to be aorist. We've got the s, so it's an augment. We know that it's an indicative form, and men is the first person plural ending. So what have we got?
Aorist, first person plural, active.
An indicative, yeah, exactly. All right.
Third.
Okay. Number 8, athenta. Okay, athenta, if you want. Okay, we have an augment, so we know it's a past tense. We have the, which is an unreduplicated form, so we know it's an aorist. We have nta, which we know is a third person plural middle ending. So this is aorist, middle, third person plural. It's not hard, is it?
Nope.
Okay. Have we got some more, Belisi, or have we done them all?
I was just going to say, you'll find another
version
of the first person plural. We can talk about that.
Yes, there are. Histeme is the only major verb in Greek that has two aorists, a first aorist and a second aorist. This is the older one. It also has an sa aorist, and the meaning they're different in meaning. This one means we stood there. This one's intransitive, okay, and the one with the sa takes over the basic meaning of the verb, which is to make something stand. Okay, so the sa aorist will not cause you any problems. It looks like a regular, like elusa, elusas, elusa, and so forth. Estesa, estesas, estesa. So if you see that, don't get, scared. It's something familiar. So is that all we have, or do we have any more?
And that was it.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks.